Hare Krishna. I'd like to congratulate everyone on a wonderful marathon. See devotees from Scotland and Wales and Soho Street and of course Manor and where else? Hunger. Yeah. Yeah, they're here. I'll mention them. And from UK, anyone else? I like to just open. I'm going to play you some excerpts here and there. And, well, you know, usually I give very short classes, but this will sort of fill it out. And the first one is very short. It's only 3 minutes long. And of course we all know that Srila Prabhupada is in his books, and Srila Prabhupada wrote these books for us. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, he says primarily he wrote this for his followers, but of course for the rest of the world. And of course the Krishna consciousness movement is meant to establish a real revolution. This revolution was already mentioned 5,000 years ago by Narada Muni when he's talking to Srila Vyasadeva, and he says, Tadvaga Vishargo Janatabla Viplava Yasmin Pratishlokam Abhaddhaviti Api. That, and specifically he's talking about Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the constitution, just like if you have a revolution, then you have a manifesto. So Srimad Bhagavatam is like the manifesto for the Krishna consciousness revolution. And as you can see, generally revolutions like the French Revolution, it lasted for some years, then Napoleon took over, and in other words, revolutions are over. And then they usher in another historic period, which later on has to be overturned with another revolution. Just like in the 1960s, this is my generation, our generation, Bhagavad Shaya, Dhananjaya Prabhu, we were part of the hippie revolution. And now all those hippies are, well, they're already retired from the city and so on, but they become back, the revolution was over. But this is already started 5,000 years ago. And as you see, sometimes that revolution has its different waves, but our acharyas continually actually remind those who are Vaishnavas, especially Gaudiya Vaishnavas, that we have a long way to go. We have a long way to go until this revolution actually has attained success. French Revolution just meant guillotine all the monarchy, and the revolution's a success. So we don't use the guillotine, but and we're not after the monarchy, but rather Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us that instruction. Pritiviti achiratra nagaradi gram sarvatra prachari hoive. Moranam, that when in every town and village people are, and that which means in every home, people are chanting Hare Krishna, then that's the purpose, or that's the manifesto of the Krishna consciousness revolution. And of course Srila Prabhupada made that even more specific in that he said that every house should have deities, specifically of Gaur Nitai. They should have a set of Srila Prabhupada's books. People should be wearing Vaishnav tilak and dressed in Vaishnav clothes. And then our revolution is a success. And when the high court judge, or for us that's the equivalent of MPs and ministers of parliament, when they're wearing tilak, then we can say we've achieved our role. And you may notice that we're not there yet. We're trying to convince devotees to wear tilak, what to speak of MPs. And so listen to this. It's Srila Prabhupada, and if you can turn off your telephones. And Srila Prabhupada is arriving in Vrindavan Dham in 1977 in May 17th. And Prabhupada comes into his quarters. He's brought into his quarters. And all the devotees who are there, they all crowd into Srila Prabhupada's room, and Prabhupada talks for 3 minutes. I'll use this microphone. And of course, it's this recording precedes and is part of Srila Prabhupada's journey towards leaving this world. But of course, Srila Prabhupada is with us, and specifically, as he points out here, he's with us in his books. And he is within the hearts of all of his followers. But I'll just elaborate a little further on that. But what does it mean that Srila Prabhupada is really with us? Srila Prabhupada had dreams. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was calling him. And Prabhupada knew what it meant. It meant take sannyas, give everything up. Give up your family, give up your employment, and just come and preach. And it took a little while, but Srila Prabhupada did it. So that calling hasn't stopped. Srila Prabhupada is also calling. And he's also calling his followers. Give up your family. Give up your job. And dedicate yourself to spreading the Krishna consciousness movement. I'll just tell one anecdote before I turn this on. And this took place in Hungary. And one of our lady Sankirtan devotees was selling sets of books. And she walked into a company, and the company manager was a lady. And so she got past the secretary and finally got in and started showing the books that, we're here to introduce these books, and this is Hare Krishna. Of course, everyone there knows Hare Krishna. Says, no, I'm not interested. It's all right. He says, thank you very much, but I'm not interested. So she tried to convince him and talk, but didn't. And then she packed the books and was about to go away. And I'm just looking around for a book. But anyway, on the back of the books is what? Picture of Prabhupada. So when the lady saw the picture, it was on the desk, she said, just a minute. And then she was looking at the picture, and she said, last night I had a dream, and I saw an old man dressed in these saffron clothes, and he was waving to me like this. And it was a very mystical dream. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know what it's about. He says, but it was him. So she took the set. She took the books. So it's going on. Srila Prabhupada is continuing to preach, and he's calling us to continue and help in the missionary movement that Vyasadeva set into motion. It's not Vyasadeva, it's always going on. This is what Krishna consciousness is all about. So I'll let you listen to this.
लाइन में एक जगह मिलता है सब 3 जगह 3 जगह उधर भी एक जगह वहाँ एक चुंगी का देखें So I cannot speak. I'm feeling very weak. I have to go to other places like Chandigarh so that, but I cancel the program because the condition of my health is very deteriorating. So I prepared to come to Vrindavan. If death takes place, let it take place. So there is nothing to be said new. Whatever I have to speak, I have spoken in my books. Now, you try to understand it and continue your endeavor. Whether I am present or not present, it doesn't matter. And Krishna is living eternally. Similarly, a living being also lives eternally. But Kirti Jasasa Jivati. One who has done service to the Lord, he lives forever. So, we have been taught to serve Krishna, and in Krishna we live eternally. Our life is eternal. Na annati annamani chile. A temporary disappearance of the body doesn't matter. Body is meant for disappearance. Tata dehantara prapti. So, live forever by serving Krishna. Thank you very much.
This is Srila Prabhupada's instruction, message, Kirti Jasya Sajivati, live forever by serving Krishna. And of course the best way of serving Krishna is to preach. Prabhupada had told us that on many occasions. If you really want to get Krishna's attention, if you want to attract Krishna, then preach. Distribute the holy name, distribute prasadam, start temples, speak to others about Krishna, but especially distribute books. And when we distribute books, then Srila Prabhupada had reiterated over and over and over again that is the best type of preaching. And of course Srila Prabhupada dedicated his life to writing these books and to inspiring us to distribute them. He distributed them himself, and he asked us to also dedicate our lives to distributing books. I'm just going to ask a question. Does it ever cross your mind that we're distributing so many books and the world is still going to hell? And why? Who sometimes has that doubt on book distribution? Okay. There's something that non-devotees, karmis, call a tipping point. You've heard that phrase, tipping point. It's when some certain phenomena or activity all of a sudden clicks in. And you can take the example, for instance, of a scale. So if you have 5 kilograms on a scale on this side, it just sits there, nothing happens. Put on 1 gram, 2 grams, 3 grams, 4 grams, 5 grams, it just sits. It doesn't move. And it's only when you hit 5 kilograms and all of a sudden it starts to move. And then you put another gram on and then the whole direction changes. One historical example that many of you may have seen, and there are many, many economic examples, business examples of how this happens. But one very interesting historical one is what happened in 1989. There was the USSR, and a Cold War was going on between what we called Russia at that time and the West. However, there was lots of effort by the West to reform, and somehow or another a president came in Russia who started to introduce a certain level of liberality, which was quite revolutionary for communist ideals. But anyway, over a very short period of time, and literally speaking, overnight, the Berlin Wall came down. A whole system. At that time I was traveling between Hungary and the UK. In '87 I started traveling to Hungary, and I was going incognito. I was flying in a wig and so on. We were holding secret programs. And all of a sudden one day the whole thing, the whole regime really crumbled. Literally speaking, it crumbled within a matter of days. And the whole country changed. And the next day, 1989 in June, I got on a plane with, there's Dayanitai here, Dayanitai, Krishna, we were in our dhotis and walked in. That was the first time they'd seen anybody in dhoti and tilak. And of course, it didn't just happen there, it happened everywhere. It happened everywhere, the whole Eastern Bloc, everything just changed. Something that had been going on since the First World War, all of a sudden it just tipped. Circumstances, in that case the politics, especially the economics of everything, it just tipped and things just changed. For instance, in Hungary, the way it took place is that the Hungarian, at that time, who was the president, who was just really a clone of the USSR, of Russians, of Moscow, and he phoned up Gorbachev and he told them that I'm taking down the fence between Hungary and Austria. Hungary had always been the most really liberal of all the places, and that's where people would usually go to meet from east to west. They would go there to meet each other, and Hungarians weren't very friendly towards Russians. They still aren't. And but it just came, and so Gorbachev said, all right, I won't do anything. So next day they took down the fence, and it was all of a sudden there was freedom. So one day you couldn't cross the border, and the next day the fence was gone. So it's like a tipping point. And our faith is also like that the dynamics, the potency, the effect of the Krishna consciousness movement, in combination with what else is also going on in the outside world, you can't walk down the street. You don't have to walk down the street. You don't even know what jihadist is going to burst into your house and shoot you. The economic system is imploding. The political systems are falling apart. So circumstances, which of course Krishna is also managing from outside, combine altogether with the effect that we're having, which in one sense may seem to be very small. But Krishna is very powerful. And ultimately, the prediction is there. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had said, yes, it will happen, and therefore it will happen. Dhananjaya Prabhu was in Hungary in the summer, and then he was narrating anecdote that I'd heard before, but he was there personally when he was sitting with Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was pointing to, maybe correct anyway, all devotees were sitting there, and he said, you may leave, and you may leave, and you may leave, and you may leave, and everyone got fingered out that they may leave, and they were sort of in shock. But books have gone out, Krishna consciousness movement has spread, so someone else will then do it. That was about right. But then, anyway, the bottom line was then Srila Prabhupada says, but I want you to get the credit. I want you to do it so that you get the credit. Jai Shri Shri Radha Gokunanda Ki Jai. So this sort of spirit of taking credit, taking responsibility for the mission of the Krishna consciousness movement was really what brought us to Krishna consciousness. When I say us, was my generation, others who are here, and it was when you have a revolution, people are very fiery, they're very enthusiastic, and sometimes I have to admit, both here, when I was in the UK, and even recently in Hungary, I was wondering, do devotees really get it? Have they still got it? Do they really understand what this Krishna consciousness movement is about? It's not about becoming a mainstream religion. It's not about just whether people or not accept us. It's really about this revolution, that devotees are willing to do anything, sacrifice anything, give up personal comfort, just for the sake of fulfilling Srila Prabhupada's desire, for the sake of helping others, kirti jasya sujivati, and for what Srila Prabhupada said, getting the credit from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because there's a lot of credit to be gotten by that, and it doesn't go without austerity. It doesn't go without difficulty. I'm just looking around. Guru Charna Padma's not here. I was temple president from 1977 to 79 in Chicago. And one day I had the ladies come to me, they wanted to talk to me, which was a pretty revolutionary thing, that the ladies wanted to talk about something. And so I thought, all right, what is? She says, we like that the morning program gets changed a little. And at that time, our main distribution was the airport, Chicago O'Hare Airport, or said another way, it's called O'Hare Airport. And Prabhupada sent one of his disciples there to the airport manager. He says, it's already called O'Hare. He says, we want it to be called O'Hare Krishna Airport. Now, considering that we were already harassing everybody there 24 hours a day, and he went, because Prabhupada told him to go. And the manager was really incredulous after everything we were doing there, that we wanted it called Hare Krishna Airport. Anyway, back to the meeting with the ladies. So the ladies said that there's a very good wave of people that comes in at 7 a.m. in the morning. So we'd like the morning program changed. And anyway, what the morning program was changed to was Mangal Artik, was at the standard time. And after Mangal Artik, we have Tulsi Arti. And after Tulsi Artik, we have Bhagavatam class. We have Guru Puja. No, Bhagavatam class, Guru Puja. And at 6 o'clock, the ladies went out to the airport. And they stayed out till 6 o'clock at night. That was not a marathon. That was just regular. This is regular Sankirtan. This is every day. It wasn't my idea. It was their idea. And so we changed it. When I had some visiting guests, for instance, when Tamal Krishna Maharaj first came to Chicago, he then became the temple president. And so I broke the news to him that after Mangal Artik, he has to give Bhagavatam class. I says, what? He says, this is crazy. What do you mean Bhagavatam class after Mangal Artik? I said, well, the devotees want to go out on Sankirtan. So it was spontaneous. It's the spontaneous spirit of spreading Krishna consciousness, taking the best opportunity, sacrificing, and that went on. That went on for what went on as long as I was the temple president of Chicago. Then it stopped, and then of course until they were there, because then some of those ladies ended up coming here, like Sangha and Guricharna Padva and Madhavi. So I'm just giving that as an example of what is the sort of the missionary zeal and the missionary spirit, and I have to be honest. Sometimes I wonder: do devotees really know that this is what should continue to be going on? This is what Krishna consciousness is about. Of course, what to speak of the fact that, as I mentioned, we left our school, we left the opinions of our parents. Of course, they didn't all say, yes, go join the Hare Krishna, you have my blessings. But Prabhupada was calling, and we went. Really solely and wholly for that, because Srila Prabhupada called. This extraordinary potency that Srila Prabhupada exhibited, that he inspired his followers, that it's your responsibility, as here Srila Prabhupada has said, so we should take responsibility for that, take responsibility for the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, at least one life. You can be a banker, an engineer, architect so many times over, what to speak of being a Brahma and other things. But this you can't do so easily. This opportunity is a very, very rare opportunity. And it's something that especially is there for young people. As devotees get, not devotees, but as one gets older, and of course you become entangled in business and family, it becomes much more difficult to actually dedicate yourself to that missionary activity. It's something that the Mormons do. Every Mormon, it's the boys, 2 years missionary preaching activity. To actually know what that extraordinary reciprocation is actually when you distribute books, when you become absorbed in distributing books, where you sort of get to a certain place in book distribution where one actually feels that you can say anything, you can do anything, and ultimately you feel that spiritual connection. It's a transcendental position, and Bhagavatam Prabhupada says it's called transcendental samadhi. So the samadhi that the yogis aspire for after many, many thousands of years can be achieved by that, but it requires effort, it requires austerity, it requires dedication. There's no spiritual life without surrender. When I was temple president of Montreal, which was just a little earlier, and we had Saturday Sankirtan, I don't know, maybe right now I would be filed a complaint, but I used to lock the door to the temple, so devotees couldn't come in until 8 o'clock at night. They come back but you have to stand outside because you're not going to get in until 8 o'clock at night, because that was Saturday Sankirtan, that everyone goes out. And then, of course, many devotees would then stay out and would stay out longer. I used to also enjoy going out and walking around, especially during the summer when all the people are drinking and eating outside and they're in a good mood, and selling books to them out on the cafes, on the sidewalk, on the cafes. And we had that here. One of our devotees for a long, long time, book distributors. He's still around. At that time, I forget what his name was at that time, but anyway, he was called Govinda Bhakta after. And he used to go out, and of course that was on marathons, and he would stay out all night. And when he got tired, he would lean up against the telephone pole to rest a little, and then continue doing book distribution. It has a certain type of flair, a certain type of it gives a certain type of feeling that comes from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's reciprocation. We can just play another tape because I'm going on. But I remember I'm not going through a list of places I was temple president, but another place I was president was in Winnipeg. And Winnipeg is called Windypeg because it's in the middle of the Canadian prairies, and there's nothing but prairies around for thousands of miles, so the wind comes at and it really creates a real wind chill factor. Phenomenal amount of snow over there, and I was mentioning that to some of the devotees yesterday I was talking to. Anyway, I remember one very classic day. I don't know if you can just when devotees went out on Sankirtan, and it was minus 70 Fahrenheit. Well, I don't know what that converts to in centigrade, but it was minus 70, and it was in all the newspapers. Here are the Hare Krishnas, not bad. They were all amazed. They couldn't believe that there were no malls at that time there in Winnipeg, so devotees were out, and they were with double boots. In Canada you have double boots. You have your shoes and then you have boots on top of your shoes. 2 sets of mitts, 2 coats, hats and everything. And particularly because it was so windy and it was snowing, so the snowdrift was such that when the devotees had to go out, it was very, very classic. They had to actually shovel their way out the door because the snowdrift came up to the 2nd floor. And so I'm just mentioning that because ultimately that's what preaching brings along with it. Srila Prabhupada didn't go through snowdrifts, but he had 2 heart attacks coming across the ocean. He didn't turn around and go back. Srila Prabhupada had to live with a madman in a loft in order he had nowhere else to live. And then at a certain point, Prabhupada just had to walk out on the street and he had nothing, because that man was threatening Srila Prabhupada. Or when in 26 2nd Avenue, Prabhupada said, I didn't know where the money was going to come from. He signed it that this is how much he was going to pay. But Srila Prabhupada had faith. So that type of spirit. Anyway, this year I stayed in Budapest, and for at least when I came back from India, and I stayed in Budapest, and I moved downstairs into the Sankirtan office, so I was there when the devotees would be coming back, and I was I was reassured, I was encouraged. I saw we were getting a real new wave of devotees, how much devotees were inspired, and I was reassured that they actually understood. I had to nudge them along a little, here and there, every once in a while, but as the marathon went on, they started going out by 6 o'clock in the morning. They were heading out, and sometimes coming back to 10, 11. Where's Mohan? Vitvad? Where's Mo? Stand up. Ayafa. This is Mohan. He's number one. He won the marathon. And Mohan's a magician. He doesn't just distribute books. He has access to the previous prime minister's house to knock on the door. He meets people on the street, businessmen, maintains contact with them, cultivates them, and so he's preaching. He's not just distributing books. And then one of his contacts gave him a £5,000 donation during the marathon. Business, just a transfer straight into the bank. So, and he's very dedicated. And when he also on 23rd he went out in the morning, went out, came back in the evening, took a shower, went back out again, stayed out till 24th overnight, but not just him. There was like about a dozen devotees. And it was spontaneous, and by association with him, and where's Shambhi Hari? Oh. Anyway, you know Shambhi Hari. Actually, they were both first. He was sort of 1A, and Shambhi Hari was 1B, because there was just a few pounds separating the two of them. And Shambhi Hari was north of the Arctic Circle, distributing books. And yes, I was reassured that they've got it. It exists. When devotees are really dedicated to Srila Prabhupada, then they feel and see Srila Prabhupada calling, and kirti yasya sujivati, and that way we get the credit that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will give for those who distribute. I'm just going to read some Sankirtan results. You're going to read Sankirtan results. Unfortunately, I have to go to a clinic. Oops. But this is for the month of September. I just wanted to read you the book distribution results at some time past. And okay. For the year 1976, this was 1976, so it's almost 40 years ago. We've got a long way to go if you want to catch up to this. This is worldwide. So this is Rameshwar, who was really the person who was globally really enthusing the book distribution at that time. Okay. For the year 1976, Rameshwar is talking. The first section, this is in January 1977, January 16th in Calcutta. Last year we sold 55,000 copies of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Prabhupada asks all parts. Rameshwar, yes. Then it lists the Bhagavatams. 7,000 volume 1, 7,000 volume 1. First canto, 7,000. 1-2, 46,000. 1-3, 41,000. 2-1, 8,500. 5-1, 8,500. 5-2, 17,000. 6-1, 16,000. 6-3, 45,000. Prahlad Maharaj, 15,000. Then Bhagavad Gita, Macmillan edition, 5,000. That was what Macmillan printed, not our printing. Abridged paper-bound edition, seems like they were still around, 11,000. Then the abridged edition, hardbound. Everyone laughs. Prabhupada is choking. Rameshwar, 606,000 hardbound volumes for a total sale of Bhagavad Gita last year in English, not counting what was printed in India. So with India it was 622,000 hardbound Bhagavad Gitas. Then Krishna book hardbound, 28,000 volume 1, 12,000 volume 2, 12,000 volume 3. Krishna book hardbound, 51,000. Then Krishna trilogies paperbound, 17,000 volume 1, 19,000 volume 2, 24,000 volume 3, making a total of 60,000 Krishna trilogies. Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, 7,000. Nectar of Devotion, 160,000. Ishopanishad, 100,000. Nectar of Instruction, 253,000. Oops, I'm going the wrong way. 253,000. Perfection of Yoga, 487,000. Krishna Consciousness is authorized, 263,000. 10,000 cookbooks, Gopal coloring books, and so Back to Godhead magazines, 7 million. The total magazines, 7 million. So total small books, 740,000. Total medium books, 319,000. Other books like cookbooks, 280,000. Total hardbound books, 1,007,000 books. Total literature sold last year, 9,076,280 books. 9 million books. Languages, French, German, Dutch, Swedish, Portuguese, anyway you know the languages. 9 million books. Then I will play something else here. So, anyway, what I'm trying to say is, is that everyone should participate in Srila Prabhupada's missionary activities. Nothing new that you're hearing me say. Whatever the cost, if you don't give your whole life, like devotees like Bhagavat or Dhananjaya Prabhu or Balagopal, then at least do 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Do it full time. Otherwise, you're depriving yourself of something. It's not the same otherwise. It's just not the same. And in doing that service, then do book distribution. Distribute Srila Prabhupada's books. You'll get Srila Prabhupada's recognition and mercy for that. Will your parents necessarily agree? Not necessarily. Not even if they're devotee parents. Don't listen to them. Haven't you learned something? Don't listen to your parents. I just received a letter yesterday. I won't say where it is, but it was one devotee. Actually, it was a daughter. It was a Guru Kuli who lived in New Rajadam, and they moved out, and she was only like 8 years old, and but she never forgot the experience. And she's coming back regularly every year to do full-time service during the summer, her summer break. So I finally convinced her, take a break in college and university and just do one full-time, go out and sell books. She speaks Hungarian as well, so this is in Hungary. And, well, she speaks Hungarian, then she learned English. And so, and her parents were full-time devotees, so finally she managed to convince them, provided that she doesn't just finish her bachelor's, but she takes master's degree. I said, well, we can talk about that later. But, you know, and because there's nothing like it. There's no taste to compare to it. There's no blessings. I remember when Srila Prabhupada was in Toronto, and he was staying in a temple, which was a very, very little temple. It was like buried place, and even smaller. And he had his room right above the main entrance. And of course, then all the devotees would come when Srila Prabhupada was there to see Srila Prabhupada. And some devotees were in his room with Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was looking out the window, and the devotees were going out, carrying boxes of books into the van right outside the door and loading them up. And Prabhupada was watching them. And Prabhupada said, just by this activity alone, they're going to go back home, back to Godhead. So, we get Srila Prabhupada's assurance, Srila Prabhupada's blessings. So we shouldn't deprive ourselves of that. We should try to actually really get that blessing. There's nothing, there's no education, there's no diploma, there's no job, there's nothing that equates that certainly you can buy that with. Here's Srila Prabhupada to Krishna Maharaj. This is in 3rd of November.
And then I was calculating what it would mean for the whole year.
Now you have to open temples in every village.
Temples in every village?
Yeah. Then spend money.
And then spend the money.
Don't give money. Spend it. Because me, they spend part. Then you get a visitor. You spend for Krishna.
Well, there's plenty of money to spend.
Karmi.
We also have plenty.
No, Karmi.
Yes, I understand. I said that there's no shortage of money.
No.
Krishna is giving us. I figured out, Srila Prabhupada, that if we, just like we did in September, I multiplied times 12 to see how much money in a year your books are selling. And the BBT in 1 year can expect to make around the world about $8,100,000. In rupees, that comes out to 7 crores $70,000. 70,000 rupees. 7 crores 70,000 rupees.
What Karmi can learn?
What Karmi can earn so much? For the temples, that means that by selling your books, the temples will collect about $16 million in 1 year. Or in other words, 14 crores 9,40,000 rupees.
They believe.
Well, believe it or not, it's a fact.
That's it.
Actually, I don't think these men like Bajaj or any of them could possibly make this much money even in material activities. What to speak of spiritual. spiritual, they lose money. They have to support it. But we have such a genuine religious movement that it supports itself. We don't require to construct big materialistic enterprises. We simply preach, and Krishna supplies all the money.
Majaj is just burdening the world with motorcycles. And you're providing the highest subject matter for hearing and chanting.
Well, there is need of money somewhere. I mean, this is just like Africa and all that records. I'm simply dreaming. As you are actually on the field.
We are actually what? Yes, but that's because we're in your dreams. If you weren't dreaming like this, we would be on the material field.
It's like Mahavishnu is lying down, the whole material world is being expanded by his dreaming. So you're lying down here, and the whole ISKCON activities are being expanded by your dreaming.
Do you want to hear some of the newsletter? It says here, it says later, this newsletter is written by Rameshwar. It's especially meant for encouraging book distribution, Srila Prabhupada. It says, later on in the morning, Prabhupada sent for Gopal Krishna Prabhu and explained to him that he wanted to print as many books as possible. My point is, Srila Prabhupada said, that I don't wish to keep money in the bank. Invest in printing. So in this way, although then Prabhupada went on referring to Harikes Swami after he presented 6 new hardbound German books to His Divine Grace. He is a very intelligent boy. My Guru Maharaj is so pleased. He used to say whatever money is there was to be used for printing books. He was so happy to print books. So you do it all very nicely. I printed my books and now you do it. These are the first class and there is no defect. German printing is very favorable. This is all right. Thank you very much. It says here, Harikes Swami told Prabhupada that now he has to become more healthy to finish the Bhagavatam. Prabhupada replied, healthy? I have nothing to do with this body. I have to do with the spiritual world. Bhagavan Prabhu mentioned to Prabhupada how many books his zone was distributing. Prabhupada, they are trying for 20,000 big books in 1 week. Prabhupada was very encouraged and told him Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati will give them all blessings. He wanted this very much. An hour later, Hridayananda Maharaj was in the room and told Prabhupada that they had printed 100,000 copies of Krishna book in Portuguese. Prabhupada said, thank you very much. Printing of books is our life force. Prabhupada looked through the books and again he asked, how many published? When he heard 100,000, oh, how they are selling and what is the price? Very good collection? print more books. This is life. This material body, only bones. So go on, and this is life. We are not concerned with bones and stones. Our concern is the living force. The living force is actually sustaining these bones. Bones are not life. Print books as I have shown the way. Half again for printing and half spent for propaganda as you like. In this way, go on. Then he turned to Jayapataka Maharaj and asked him if he was doing that. He told him, whatever propaganda is needed, you go out and spend, but print books and distribute. Whatever English books we have got, if we translate into Bengali, you have got enough stock. Jayapataka Swami replied, yes, we have got a treasure house. And Prabhupada said, in this way, in all languages, distribute. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Chant Hare Krishna. Says here, Prabhupada is translating the 3rd volume of the 10th canto, and volume 2 is now just being printed and will be available for shipping to all temples on November 11th, along with a new book written by Srila Prabhupada called The Teachings of Lord Kapiladev. 50 copies, 1,000 copies of each volume have been published. 50,000.
Oh.
Says here that this is the year of Europe. Srila Prabhupada. Says here are the totals. It says here are the totals for book distribution in North America. And Europe is leading. The number 1 zone is Bhagavan Prabhu's. Number 2 zone is Jayatirtha Prabhu's, England. And the number 4 zone is Haikesh's zone. So Europe is leading the distribution. Maybe sometime later on today you can do a little translating, Srila Prabhupada. No. Actually, the Kaviraj recommended that you shouldn't do that for a few days. Does that sound right? Okay. Anyway, I think Praduma and Jayadvaita have some work to catch up with. So they have enough to stay busy. Should we chant japa now, Srila Prabhupada?
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So that's what Srila Prabhupada was listening to. There are others, but we don't have time. And that's what Srila Prabhupada was doing. He was preaching and translating, commenting until the very end. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.